All right, so what's up, guys? Not much. I know it's been a long time since I posted a video. I get that. We'll get some more videos up soon. They're coming. Just, let's be delayed here. So today's video, comment a couple weeks ago. I was looking because I do read every comment. So if you comment, I'll get it. So a guy posted, he said, hey, I got a garage. I just got my first house. I'm looking at kind of setting my garage up. I'm trying to figure out which tools I should go with. Should I go with air tools, 18 volt like lithium tools, or should I go with like 120 volt tools? What do you best suggest? And I was like, that could be a pretty good video. So all right, here's your video. I know you're subscribed, so I know you'll get this. So all right, guys, let's first start off our video. All right, so question of the day: what power source do you have in your garage? If you already have an air compressor, then that answers half of these questions. But let's be realistic here. Most people might not have an air compressor already starting out. If you don't, get it, cool. But your garage does have 120, so you can basically plug up whatever you need. That is a good thing. But if you don't have a compressor and you're looking at getting a compressor, you will need to do that. So I guess let's start off first. I'll show you my compressor setups, and then we'll go over tools. So let's knock it out. All right, so compressor number one. I have two compressors. One is remotely mounted outside, and I run my air lines under the ground in here, cool. So I don't have to hear this loud thing going on 24/7. So this is my old compressor. I really don't use this one anymore. It kind of just sits in the corner because I have, what is this? This is a 33 gallon, and I have an 80 gallon, 220 volt outside that's remotely mounted. This one over here is 120, gets the job done, does what it needs to do. It works. It will run 90% of the tools that you are going to use. Now, the reason I upgraded compressors is because I have a sandblaster, I paint cars, etc. This will not do that. So you need a bigger compressor to run those tools, but if you do, this will work. All right, and here's another thing right here. See, this will normally check out the sticker here. This will give you a lot of information on your compressors. For example, this one's 33 gallon, it's electric, 120 volts right there. This is what you want to focus on right here, though, is this air CMFs on what it actually does for the tool delivery. So this does 11.9, but then at, let's see here, depending on the 40 or 90 PSI is what you're looking for your tool. So if your tool falls under this number right here, great, you can use it. If not, you might need a bigger compressor or look at getting a bigger one. So, all right, let's go ahead and, I was gonna go outside to my other compressor, but it's raining. I think my other compressor pushes out like 18 CFMs. I wanna say almost 18 or 19 CFMs. So it will do its job. I think it does 18 or 19 at like 90. So it holds its ground. It'll do really whatever you need to do. But this one right here, you can run this compressor out, but it gets the job done. So if you're in a pinch, this will work. But if you got money, get the big one. All right, now let's start off with the drill. You're probably gonna need one of these. So let's be real here. If you have a garage, you probably need it. So let's say we got 120 volt over here, two drills, air drill, electric drill. Well, this is battery powered electric. So I guess I'll say this. What is my go-to drill? This. I'll be honest with you. I use the Milwaukee the most. Haven't had any really major issues with it. I will say though, for the price, you have to remember, I probably would still choose the Milwaukee still, even for the price now, because I probably paid like $300 for the Milwaukee. Air drills are extremely cheap. And remember, all air tools are extremely cheap. There are no expensive air tools. Electric tools that are 120 volt are hit or miss. You can spend a lot of money on them. You can or can't. I think I paid like $20 for this drill, maybe 30 or 40 bucks for this drill, and then this one's like 300. So depending on what your budget is looking like. Now see, this goes back to the air compressor tool. Is like, hey, you spend a little bit of money on your air compressor, but all your tools are dirt cheap. Now you do have to run the air cord over. I get it, but at the same time, I'll be honest with you, for drills, I don't really use this. I've used this maybe twice since I've probably had it. I do use these a good chunk amount just because batteries run out. This is quick and easy to pick up. I get it. But at the same time, if I'm drilling 50 holes in steel, I'm probably going to grab this. I'm not going to grab that. I'm not grabbing this. So depending on what you're doing, you might just need to figure that out, All right, next tool. So next item, big boy breaker bar and 1/2 inch impact. I'm going to be honest with you. If you're talking about taking off bolts, don't even think about buying an electric one because that thing's going to be weak as crap. Now, I know I got some air people below. They're going to be like, hey, you don't have an air impact. I'm going to be honest with you. This gets the job done. I have not ran into a bolt that this thing has not taken off. I've had air tools before in the past that have not taken off bolts that I have used this on, and it has taken it off. So I will say, if you're buying big boy stuff, just go ahead with the electric, the basically M18 stuff, or even just any lithium powered impact. The Milwaukee is the best, not promoting or anything, but I have not ran into a bolt that this does not take off. If it does, if I cannot get this in there, good old trusty breaker bar. There's no reason to buy an electric one. The air ones work, but this is stronger. So I would just say, go ahead and use that. And this is your backup right here. All right, next thing. These are like 3/8 drives, 1/4 drives, smaller impact type of stuff. I will say, now, see, I messed up here because I loaned out my, I have this in Milwaukee, the M18. And I will say though, between these two, because I have two of the identical tools, one in air and one in the M12, I do use the air tool more because it's stronger. It gets the stuff done. Now maybe it's just Milwaukee, the M12 version. She's not as strong, doesn't get the job done. So I will say for smaller, like, because just to get in some places, like the electric one just doesn't, it works if the bolt's already loose, but let's be real here. If you're probably getting somewhere where you need to reach this to, you probably need to break it and get it out. So I use this. Now, same thing when it comes to these. I do like this also because this is quick and go. You pick it up, you got to run your air lines. It's strong. But then again, this is M18 version. So maybe that's why this one's a little bit stronger because I don't have this one in air. But this bad boy, I mean, this thing's small. Don't let the size fool you. This thing will take off lug nuts. You know, it's strong. So at the same time, depends on where your space is because this thing cannot fit into a lot of spaces where as the air tools are a little bit smaller, they fit in a lot more places. And I mean, let's just envision the Milwaukee one right here. That is my weakest tool. The Milwaukee M12 does not perform like the air does. It just doesn't. But if you can get this in there, it'll get it off. So, all right, next tool. All right, next, the Sawzalls. Now, I was thinking at first, I was like, man, battery powered's kind of knocking everything out of the water. But I will say, when it comes to the Sawzalls, I'm going to be honest with you, I barely use this. And I'm saying, like, this was good money. Like, I want to say, like, this is probably, I think the tool was maybe like 180 bucks and the battery's like another 150. So we're talking well over $300 for this, where, you know, good old Harbor Freight brand here is probably about $20. And then we also have Harbor Freight air saw right here for another 20 bucks. And I'll be honest with you, I use these all the time. I never use this just for working on car stuff. Like if I need to cut something maybe quick, I might use this just for like, I don't have to plug it up or run the air line over there. But I don't know. I feel like if I'm cutting like the front of a car off or something, you know, I'm at the like outside, I need to cut the front of the car off to get the engine out or something like that. I'm going to use this. I'm not using this because the batteries die in this thing. Like I can cut for a good amount of time on this M18. This is the HD12. I mean, and these batteries are not cheap. And like, that's where your money starts to come into it. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, for this stuff, this is all day. And another good thing about air is, remember, air tools are so small. Like when you're working on cars and you need to cut something, I can stick this thing anywhere and cut whatever I need to cut in the engine bay or, you know, working under the car, anything, this will reach it. Whereas like, I mean, look at how much bigger these are. You know, they really don't fit into the small areas, but for cutting small stuff, air is definitely the better choice. 12 volts. I mean, this is 20 bucks and I use this thing all the time. I really never use this one. And this is like 30 times the price. So I will say for Sawzall situation, this is where it's at. Don't mess with the electric stuff. Just spend $20, get it and go. All right, and next tool, I guess these are like Dremel tools, I guess maybe you could say. I don't know. You got your 120, your Milwaukee M12, and then you got your air powered ones. Now for this situation, I'm be honest with you, I don't prefer these. I don't. I use these all the time. I'm an air guy for this because, like, to be honest with you, like, I mean, the Dremel works. The electric one works. It does what it needs to do. And this, I'm telling you, this thing is nice. This is a nice tool right here, but the battery does not last. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can use this for like, I think the runtime on this is like 8 minutes or 10 minutes. Like that's horrible. And then you got to charge another battery, and these batteries are expensive. And I mean, like, this is nice for just a, hey, I'm about to weld something. Let me just clean the surface off real quick. But like, then the battery's dead, you know? So then it's like, you're always fighting it. You're putting new batteries in it. I mean, I love this. This is nice. It's portable. You know, you just pick it up, clean off whatever you're doing real quick. Nice. But this is where it's at. Like when you're talking like, hey, I want to port a manifold, port a cylinder head, I could not imagine the headache you would run through. And they make these in bigger, but they still make them 120. They're expensive and they're not that powerful. So like, that's not even out of the question. I couldn't imagine how many batteries you go through trying to port something or clean something up. Cause like the only reason I don't use this all the time is just cause the batteries die. So it's like, that's out of the question. These right here, kill it. They're cheap. They get the job done. I mean, like, I think I probably spent what, like $20 or $30 on this one, $20 on that one, $20 on that one. That's it. These are cheap and they last forever. Like it just keeps going. Like the air does not run out. So you can normally run them all day. And then this thing right here, like this was like, shoot, I want to say it's maybe almost 200 bucks, 250 bucks. And I mean, like it worked. It's nice, but I don't know. And then also these are cheap. You can get these for like 20 or 100 bucks, but still, I mean, these are cheaper than this all day and these work all day. So I would say if you're doing a lot of dremeling stuff, go air for sure. All right. And last but not least, angle grinders. I know you got to have one in your garage. As you can see, these are so cheap, to be honest with you. I just run electric ones. They work the 120 volts. And because honestly, because these are so cheap, I literally use all three. I don't even change the wheels. I literally have a cutoff wheel on this one, the flat wheel on this one, and a grinder on this one because it makes no sense to change the wheel out. I can just buy another one for 20 bucks, you know? And no, too, I will say I have used the air-powered angle grinders, and those do work great. They're very cheap. I just don't have one in my lineup just because this is what I use at my home garage. But air-powered ones, good. Now, I thought about buying a Milwaukee one because, you know, I do like my Milwaukee tools. But for the jobs that I do in the car industry, I think that this is really all you need. The Milwaukee one, overpriced. Because I want to say, like, I think the Milwaukee one's like $250. And $250 for something that I can do for $20, I mean, I'd rather just go ahead and spend the 20. So, all right. So I didn't have all the tools, as you can see. You know, this is obviously my home garage. We're not at the shop. We're not doing anything crazy, but it's a pretty good, I think I did a pretty good round of the job table here. So as I was actually pretty surprised myself that I actually do use a lot of the M18 stuff. I mean, I like the lithium powered, battery powered tools. I like my air powered tools. I also like my 120 volt tools. It depends on the situation, and that's the same thing for you. It depends on what you're doing, you know, because obviously one tool is not better than the next tool, but it just depends on the situation. Like me, if you're painting or something like that, like I stated at the beginning, or sandblasting, you need a big boy compressor. For a lot of these tools in here though, you do not need a big boy compressor. You can work with that. I mean, I think the compressor over there was like 150 bucks or something like that. It'll get the job done. And I feel like too, spending $150 on a compressor and then spending $20 on each tool, that's a lot cheaper than going to buy like one Milwaukee Impact for like 400 bucks. You know what I mean? So it depends on where your budget's at, what you're doing, if you're leaving the house. Cause like, I know the Milwaukee tools are great for leaving the house and doing stuff like that, but most people don't leave their garage. Like me, I'm kind of here. I mean, this is my workshop. I work here. So I always have power. I always have, you know, air. It's always here. So at that point, I like the air tools for that reason, because I'm here. I'm not going to change tires on the side of the road with an air impact gun, you know? So depends on what you're doing, depends on what your budget is. I kind of like a little spread of everything, as you can see from the lineup, but just depends on what you're doing. So, all right, guys, next video, let me know what you want to see. We'll keep chugging along. Later.